You know, guys, I don't know why these small political parties that actually assisted the ANC to get the fiscal framework that consists of 0.5 VAT increase over the line in parliament. I don't know why these people continue to speak with the ANC on this matter of the VAT. I honestly don't know why. And what I find disgusting is that the leaders of these small political parties are giving South Africans an impression that these conversations they are having with the ANC are fruitful. They are giving South Africans an impression that the ANC might actually go back and scrap the 0.5 VAT increase. These people are trying to say to South Africans that, guys, the ANC finance minister is going to come back with a revised budget that does not include any VAT hikes. This is what I actually find disgusting with these people, because it is clear as day that these people have not been paying attention to what the ANC has been saying. They have not been paying attention to what the ANC has been saying, because when it comes to this matter of the VAT hikes, the ANC and the government has been very clear. They have been very clear on where they stay or their position on this matter of the VAT. You remember what the South African government said after these people actually voted for the VAT increase in parliament? Immediately after these people voted for the fiscal framework that consists of 0.5 VAT increase, the South African government went on social media to say that, guys, the parliamentarians have actually voted for this fiscal framework. So it means that on the 1st of May, the VAT is going to go up by 0.5. And next year, in April, the VAT again is going to go up by 0.5. This is what these people have actually voted for. Despite these people actually trying to lie to South Africans to say that, guys, we didn't vote for any VAT increase. No, please try to listen to us. We didn't vote for any VAT increase. We are actually against the VAT increase. And to show you guys that we are against the VAT increase, we went to parliament and actually voted for the VAT increase. This is why I am saying that sometimes these people actually believe that South Africans are stupid. They honestly, deep down in their hearts, they believe that South Africans are stupid and they have not been paying attention to what the ANC has been saying. I mean, the National Treasury told them through Ramaphosa. You remember Ramaphosa when he was busy playing golf that other day, when he spoke with the media about this matter of the VAT increase. He said that, guys, I understand that these small political parties have actually assisted the ANC to get this fiscal framework that consists of 0.5 VAT increase over the line in parliament. But at the same time, we understand that these people, they want this 0.5 reversed in 30 days, which is totally impossible. There's absolutely no way that you can revise a VAT increase in 30 days. But these political parties, for some reason, they believed that if they can give the ANC recommendations, they believe that the ANC would actually look at what they have recommended. The ANC would actually look at their proposals and actually cut where they said you should cut. You remember these political parties coming out to say that, guys, this is what the ANC needs to cut to ensure that they save a bit of money. Something that was proposed by the DA a long time ago. But these political parties came and said that, guys, this is what we are proposing to the ANC and this is what we are proposing to the government. And the same people had actually forgotten that after the DA has proposed the cards to the ANC, the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, went out in a press conference and said that the DA believes in cutting. The DA says cut, but the ANC does not believe in cutting. The ANC does not believe in cutting. So when Ramaphosa was busy playing golf there and actually trying to acknowledge that these people want the VAT to be reversed in 30 days, he did mention that the National Treasury at this time, they say that they don't see any alternatives. So we're going to have to push through with this 0.5. This is what Ramaphosa said. He said it himself, that the National Treasury at this point, they say they don't see any alternatives. But yeah, we are taking into considerations the recommendations of these stupid political parties. This is what Ramaphosa said. And what did the finance minister say a couple of days ago? What did Ino Godongwana say a couple of days ago? Ino Godongwana said the same thing that the National Treasury said, that I don't see any alternatives to the VAT hikes. If if there were alternatives to the VAT hikes, I would be doubting my fiscal framework. These are the words of the ANC finance minister, that I don't see any alternatives to the VAT hikes. And if there were alternatives to the VAT hikes, I would be doubting my fiscal framework. But for some reason, the leaders of these small political parties, they still continue to go on the mainstream media and lie to the people of this country and try to convince South Africans that they don't want any VAT increases. They did not vote for any VAT increases. I mean, like, this is absolutely unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. You remember some of the things that they have actually proposed to the ANC is that, guys, we need to get rid of these deputy ministers, man. We need to get rid of the deputy ministers. And last week, the president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, said, no, we are not going to get rid of the deputy ministers. The deputy ministers are doing a wonderful job in government. So Ramaphosa was basically doubling down on what Fikile Mbalula say, that these people want cut, but the ANC does not believe in cutting. So these people are actually not paying attention to what the ANC has been saying. And the ANC has been very clear. The ANC has been very clear. So now that the dates are going, now that it's TikTok, not the social media, but TikTok, they are trying to spin around what they actually voted for. So guys, today I actually want us to look at the president of Build One South Africa, Maimane, to try to spin it to South Africans and to try to make South Africans understand that he did not vote for the VAT hikes, despite actually helping the ANC to get the fiscal framework that consists of 0.5 over the line in Parliament. This is Maimane basically trying to spin doctor his way out of it. You know, one leader, Songeso Zibi, is trying to absolve himself out of this mess. Songeso Zibi, few days ago, said that, guys, but let's be clear, to reverse this VAT hike in 30 days was not feasible and practically feasible. This is what Songeso Zibi said. And these are the people that actually stood in front of South Africans and said that this VAT hike would actually be reversed in 30 days. But now, Songeso Zibi, he said, no, guys, this thing, it is not practically feasible. But Maimane and Herman Mashaba in the Action SA, they are still saying that the VAT will be reduced by, this VAT increase will be removed before the 1st of May. I mean, like, these people are absolutely hopeless, man. At this point, these people are absolutely hopeless.
Political parties are trying to find alternatives to the controversial VAT hike, which could kick in next week. Build One South Africa.
Which is going to kick in next week, not could kick in next week. Which is going to kick in.
Political parties are trying to find alternatives to the controversial VAT hike, which could kick in next week. Build One South Africa met with the ANC as part of continued talks to find solutions to the budget impasse. It comes as the Western Cape High Court prepares to hear the DA and the EFF's case interdicting the hike. Build One South Africa leader Maimane is with us for more now. A very good evening to you, Musi. Thank you so much for joining us. I guess let's start with, how are your talks going so far with the ANC regarding this VAT hike?
Good evening and good evening to fellow South Africans. And just let me send my deep condolences to the Catholics all over the world, and certainly to Christians for the passing of Pope Francis. And certainly may his soul rest in peace. And I think on the very issue of VAT, we are now at the point where we are really trying to find the most legal ways to be able to remove the 0.5% VAT hike.
It is impossible, Maimane. It is impossible. You just need to admit it, that this is a huge blunder that you committed. But it is quite impossible. It is impossible.
The process has involved engaging with Treasury to be able to table a number of proposals. It's equally so as we meet with the ANC again this week, we will return back to say, what then are the legal mechanisms, considering one of a few ways. The first is that obviously the minister, being given the power to be able to table VAT, must equally have the power to either delay its implementation or withdraw it. Or secondly, the fundamental issue of going, as we are looking at the expenditure.
I mean, guys, if we are being honest, why would the ANC fight so hard to implement this 0.5 VAT increase only for them to remove it in 30 days? Why would the ANC do that? Why would the ANC do that? And Maimane says that, no, we're going to still speak with the ANC and about the proposals. I mean, the finance minister told you last week that he does not see any alternatives, because if there were any alternatives, he would actually doubt his fiscal framework. What is it exactly do these people actually want the ANC to say before it actually sinks in these hard heads of theirs? In these hard heads of theirs, what is it exactly do these people want the ANC to say? I mean, if you were in the ANC, what would you be saying to these people at this point? Because you have said everything to actually make these people understand that you are for the VAT hikes. The ANC has said everything. They continue to tell these people that, guys, even these proposals that you are making are not even being taken into consideration, because you people are actually suggesting that the ANC government or the president must actually cut there and there and there. But they already told you that they do not believe in cutting. But you are giving these people proposals to say that this is things that you should cut, despite these people telling you time and time again that they do not believe in cutting. So what is it exactly do these people actually want the ANC to say before they understand that the ANC has made a choice? And the ANC says that, guys, we have made a choice and we're going to stand by our choice. For some reason, they believe that the ANC fought so hard to a point where they nearly destroyed the government of national unity, going outside of the government of national unity to get their support so that there's a fiscal framework that consists of 0.5 can be passed in parliament. Why would the ANC go over that trouble only for them to reverse this budget in 30 days? Why would the ANC do that, man? Man. Yo, guys, every time I'm listening to these people, and it's getting frustrating by the day to report this, but it is our duty so that you people do not forget about this thing of the VAT hikes. We're going to speak about this thing until the 1st of May. And oh my God, I cannot wait to make that video after the 1st of May, after the VAT has actually went up. Oh, that is going to be the, I don't know, hottest video in this platform. I'm telling you right now. It is going to be very hot. That video is going to be very hot. But I don't understand, what is it exactly do these people want the ANC to say? I don't know. You continue to engage with the ANC. The ANC goes out in public and they tell you that we don't see any alternatives. But you say that we're going to continue to speak with the ANC. What is it that you want the ANC to say?
Cuts that not only will our committee that meets tomorrow, the appropriations committee, be considering, but what are some of those expenses that can be taken out in order to alleviate the need for the VAT hike? And then lastly, with better than anticipated SARS collections, that means that they've exceeded the targets that were tabled in this current budget, and ultimately means there's additional revenue in this regard that could very well mean that you could be able to balance fiscally to ensure that you don't need a VAT. Now, that may very well require us to table an amended fiscal framework.
Now, as you've mentioned there are alternatives that you are also proposing as Build One South Africa. Why did you support the fiscal framework budget that entailed a 0.5 percentage point VAT increase in the first place if you're against the VAT increase?
Well, what was important to start with is the fact that,
I mean, that is a very good question. This is what a lot of people have been asking for such a long time. Why would you vote for a fiscal framework that has a VAT increase if you are so against this VAT increase? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Now, as you've mentioned there are alternatives that you are also proposing as Build One South Africa. Why did you support the fiscal framework budget that entailed a 0.5 percentage point VAT increase in the first place if you're against the VAT increase?
Well, what was important to start with is the fact that the context requires the budget is tabled in 3 phases. The first is obviously the fiscal framework, and then the next is the division of revenue bill, and then the third is the appropriations bill, which then gets to be voted on. The other one component is the taxation amendment bills. Now, We were clear at the time that on the first instance, we oppose VAT, and therefore our votes were always conditional on us being able to find alternatives to amend or to reject. The second is, you can't live in a country that cannot be able to table a budget. We'd already had a postponement, and to move on to another postponement not only would mean that our domestic politics unable to resolve the very fundamental issue of getting a budget.
I mean, what was the rush? I don't understand. What was the rush? Because this guy is actually peddling what Maimane Mashaba has been saying. You remember Maimane Mashaba speaking about this. He's trying to make it to sound to South Africans that, guys, if there were another delay on this issue, like, this country was going to be in a lot of trouble. But they are not telling us what is it exactly that actually entails. What is it that this trouble that they are speaking about actually entails? What was the rush? What was the rush? Because the DA actually fought these people when they come with that 2 percentage point. The DA fought until the ANC came with the 0.5. And just when the DA was actually about to kick the ANC in the nuts and make them surrender the 0.5, Maimane and Maimane Mashaba and Songeso Zibi, they came at the rescue of the ANC. And they are saying that, guys, there's no way that we could have afforded another delay on this matter. What was the rush? What was the rush? I don't understand what was the rush. What was the rush? The thing is that these people, they did not want to see the DA actually winning this battle with the ANC. They did not want to see the DA actually winning this battle with the ANC. So they decided to vote with the ANC so that they can spite the DA. But they did that at the expense of the people of this country. Because the DA was on a winning streak. The DA actually had the ANC at the corner. The ANC had no way out. They had no way out. They came with that 2 percentage point, and the DA said, we are not doing that. We are not doing that. And other small political parties that actually do not matter in the government of national unity, they tried to take that victory from the DA and said that, no, it is not only the DA. It is not only the DA. Even us, we actually fought. We fought with the ANC because we say that this 2 percentage point, it is completely unacceptable. This was going to destroy the lives of the poor people in this country. So it was not only the DA. I mean, these other political parties, like, they are nothing compared to the DA. The only political parties that actually matter in the GNU, it is the ANC and the DA, because these are two political parties that actually have high support. These other political parties are coming with like what? 0.5, 1%, 2%. Like, they are nothing. They are nothing. If the DA actually supports the ANC on anything in the GNU, there is nothing that these useless political parties in the GNU can actually do about it. That's why when the DA said, no, we are not going to support this VAT increase of the ANC was tied at the corner. There's nothing that they could have done. Even these political, but no, Maimane, Maimane Mashaba and Songeso Zibi, they had to come at the rescue of the ANC. Why? Because they actually hate the DA that much. Patriotic Alliance, Gayton McKenzie right now is trying to make it look like, no, I did not even take part in this VAT increase. South Africans must not actually be fooled by Gayton McKenzie. Gayton McKenzie is another snake. Looking at Gayton McKenzie, Maimane, Maimane Mashaba, Songeso Zibi, like, these people are snakes. This is how South Africans should actually categorize these people. Gayton McKenzie trying to make it look, he's not even talking about the VAT increase. He's not even talking about the VAT increase. People are getting smoke. Maimane is getting smoke. Maimane Mashaba is getting smoke about the decisions that they have actually made. But Gayton McKenzie, no, the people are not talking about Gayton McKenzie because he's not saying anything about the VAT increase. And South Africans must not forget that Gayton McKenzie actually voted against their interest. Gayton McKenzie actually voted so that the poor people in this country and the middle class can be screwed by the ANC. South Africans must not forget that. They must not forget that. So I don't understand. What was the rush? Because they keep saying that, no, we could not afford another delay. We could not afford another delay. No, the thing is that these people, they do not want to see the DA actually winning that battle. That is the thing. This is how much these people hate the DA. They hate the DA so much that they would spite South Africans. They would spite South Africans and make things hard for South Africans instead of actually seeing the DA win. This is how much they hate the DA. They hate the DA more than they hate a political party that has been running this country for the past 30 years and actually screwing the country up for the past 30 years. This is the kind of people these people are. This is the kind of people these people are. So Maimane, who would have thought that Maimane would actually vote against the ANC, would vote with the ANC? Who would have thought that these people would actually vote with the ANC? And in that process, screwing over South Africans so that they can say to the DA, you did not succeed. I mean, the DA pressed the ANC until they came with this 0.5. And the DA said, no, we are still rejecting any fiscal framework that consists of any VAT hikes. So the ANC, go back and actually try to see where you can cut. And we actually have proposals. This is where you can cut. If you can cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can save a lot of money instead of making things harder for South Africans. But these people had to come at the rescue of the ANC so that the DA does not go out with a win. I hate these political parties, man. I hate these leaders of these political parties so much with everything in me. I hate these people. I absolutely detest these people. This is how I feel about these people. Because they keep saying that, no, we could not afford another delay. What was the rush? What was the rush? The ANC was held accountable. It was held accountable. Finally, the ANC would have went back and actually cut on these pegs of these ministers. The ANC, Ramaphosa, would have been forced to trim down this bloated cabinet. You see the bloated cabinet of Ramaphosa, it's like the stomach of Gwedemantashe. Ramaphosa would have been forced to cut down that stomach of Gwedemantashe. But no, these people, they came at the rescue of the ANC. Man, I detest these people.
And then the international climate of geopolitics as it faces President Trump. The third issue is that whilst the 0.5% VAT hike is one component of the budget, it isn't the entire budget. This is a matter of 28 billion rands when you include the budget creep, which is the taxation bill. But it also is an issue that doesn't include growth. It doesn't look at how we are fiscally sustainable. So to focus on one aspect and ignore the fact that South Africa has been growing at less than 1% for the last 10 years, and therefore when you look at the budget, which is not perfect, how do you work on it to ensure that it achieves growth? Means that you've got to, as a
So Maimane is basically telling South Africans that the same ANC that has actually failed to grow the economy for the past 30 years, now they actually have a chance of growing the economy, and he actually believes that the ANC is capable of growing the economy. This is the same person that was criticizing the ANC about the fact that they could not grow the economy in decades. But now he's talking about growth. What growth? What growth is this guy actually talking about? Is this guy still speaking about the same ANC that he was criticizing a couple of years ago? Or which ANC is this guy basically talking about? He's talking about growth. The ANC has failed. They have utterly failed to grow the economy of this country. They have failed to do that. I mean, like, this guy actually sounds like, you remember that leader of IFP? Hey, Hlabisa gives me nausea, man. Every time when I look at Hlabisa, I honestly feel like vomiting. This is how much I actually detest this person. Hlabisa was actually standing in front of the cameras and telling South Africans that because of this VAT hike, South Africans are now going to get their service delivery because of these VAT hikes. The government is going to be able to hire the doctors because of these VAT hikes. He was basically praising the ANC for actually raising the VAT hikes. He was praising the ANC for raising the VAT and basically saying that this money is going to improve the lives of South Africans, forgetting that the ANC has been tabling the budget by themselves and passing the budget by themselves for the past 30 years, and they have actually failed to give South Africans these services that he's talking about. But Hlabisa was there telling South Africans that, guys, now we are going to hire more doctors. Now we are going to ensure that the people who benefit from the grants are getting their money. No, South Africans are going to get the service delivered. And they want us to believe that. They want us to believe that a political party that has actually failed to give the people all of these things suddenly can now give these people these things. That's what Maimane is sounding like right now. Absolutely ridiculous, man.
leader in society think this is one component, I've got to look at the whole component of the budget. So to reject the fiscal framework on the one basis and ignore the rest of it, I think to me misses part of what some of the needs that South Africans have, which are growth, but also some of the expenditure that's been put in there. South Africa will spend over 1 trillion rand in the next 3 years on infrastructure. Now, that infrastructure has to be built in municipalities who are, in some instances, very.
Who actually believes that this infrastructure will be built, this infrastructure that Maimane is talking about? Who actually believes that that infrastructure will be built? That's why I'm saying, listening to these people, man, it actually will give you a headache. It will give you a headache. How many times has the ANC promised the people of this country to build an infrastructure? How many times has the ANC promised the people of this country service deliver? But you have the leader of Build One South Africa there talking about growth, talking about the economy, talking about the infrastructure that actually needs to be built. So are you as South Africans actually believe that this infrastructure will be built? I mean, who do these people actually take us for? These people actually take us for muhus, man. They take us for muhus.
Dysfunctional. Now, how do I deal with that if I'm not willing to have a fiscal framework and a budget appropriation that I've got to look at? So I think in many ways, whilst the VAT issue is an important component, it is not the only component of the budget.
And while I may agree with you there as well, but you also have a petition out as Build One South Africa to say no to VAT. And you've highlighted your reasoning behind why you supported it. But do you understand why it may seem disingenuous to some?
Well, I can appreciate that. And I think for many South Africans need to know, we're faced with one of two options, or maybe in some ways. The first was to reject the entire fiscal framework, which means you'd have no budget and therefore have no leverage. You've got no room to fight within the process to reject the VAT hike. The second is to go to a court. If you go to a court, there is no court that can set the VAT levels in the country. It cannot. By its nature.
I mean, the same with your petition, Maimane. You can criticize the people for going to the courts so that they can scrap this 0.5. But what is your petition going to do? What is your petition going to do? Because right now you are trying to convince South Africans that the DA and the ANC, not the DA and the EFF, going to the courts to try to get this VAT hike rescinded. It is a wasteful exercise. What about your petition? Do you think your petition is actually going to convince the ANC to go back to parliament? Do you think your petition is going to convince the ANC to scrap the 0.5? It is not. It is not. So you cannot criticize the people for trying to do something about the VAT hikes while you are trying to do the same thing and saying that, no, these people's method is useless, while you yourself actually have a useless method.
The courts can only direct Parliament either to procedurally look at how the voting of the fiscal framework took place, or to direct Parliament to work on its own internal mechanisms. So in essence, this is an issue that must be fought for within Parliament and ultimately needs convincing of Treasury to be able to achieve that. So I am taking the mandate of people who said, we've signed a petition, we disagree with VAT, and therefore we're sitting. I'm not meeting with the ANC because I have a preference or whatever.
I mean, just imagine, man, like for 2 seconds, just go back. Just imagine, as a leader of a political party, you vote for a fiscal framework that actually includes VAT hikes. And you know very well that this fiscal framework includes the VAT hikes, but you still do a petition with South Africans and say that we are against the VAT hikes. Does it make any sense? Because with the Maimane, it seems like the penny has not dropped yet. It seems like the penny has not dropped yet. You cannot vote for something today and tomorrow do a petition to say that we are against what we actually voted for. You need to be strong and say that this is what I voted for. You need to be strong enough to actually stand for what you voted for. You cannot vote for something today and tomorrow do a petition to say that no, we are against VAT. We are against VAT. No VAT hikes. No VAT hikes. While you are having fun in Parliament and actually celebrating with the ANC after they have screwed over South Africans by increasing the VAT hikes. You cannot do that. You cannot do that, and we as South Africans are not even going to allow you to do that. No, we are not going to allow you to do that.
The issue is, I'm meeting with them to find the best solutions to remove the VAT hike. So I think it is better to be in the room fighting than outside in the court with a court that will eventually direct you back into the same parliament you are running away from.
And I wanted to ask you what you make of the EFF and the DA taking this matter to court, but I guess you've just answered that question there. So what happens if, come, the 1st of May, BOSA's alternative solutions aren't taken in and the VAT does increase as planned? What's then your next move?
We've got an important date, which is the 6th of May, upon which the second vote, as it speaks to the budget, goes through, and then we'll have to work with what we do then. And as I've communicated both to the ANC and to GNU partners, that ultimately it cannot be the betrayal of trust where we are working on a process that now we have to vote for the second part of the budget. And then the third component of it is the appropriations bill, which is still coming further down the line, which we could reject. That would mean that a proper amendment would now need to be put in place for those considerations to be put on the table. So I think we've got a number of interventions to put forward, and we're really looking to find the best solutions, not to hold South Africans ransom, but to ensure that we have a budget that's reflective of the interest of growth, that doesn't have this VAT hike, and that's what we're working towards.
So guys, when I say that these people actually do not listen when the ANC speaks, this is exactly what I'm speaking about. This is what I'm speaking about when I say that these people are honestly failing to pay attention to the ANC when the ANC speaks. I mean, we know very well that the DA and the EFF have actually decided to take this matter to the courts. And Maimane is speaking about meeting with the ANC to find ways to remove the VAT hikes. But the finance minister of the ANC, Godongwana, is basically defending the VAT increases in the court papers. He is defending the VAT increases, the same VAT increase that Maimane wants you to believe that is going to be scrapped by the ANC. The finance minister of the ANC, Godongwana, is defending that VAT increase. That's why at the start of this video, I did say that what is it exactly do these people want the ANC to say before they actually get the message? What is it exactly do these people want the ANC to say? What is it that the ANC must say to these people so that they can understand that the VAT will increase by the 1st of May and there's nothing they're going to do about it? Their political parties are going to die as a result. Them politically are done as this result. And the ANC couldn't care less about these people. And the ANC is happy that these people will be annihilated. So the ANC has basically managed to use these people in their fight with the DA. And the ANC has actually realized that these people, they hate the DA so much that they would vote for us to screw over the DA. And now that they screwed over the DA at the expense of the people of this country, it is their time now to pay. It is their time now to pay. So what is it exactly must the ANC say? What is it but must the ANC say? Because you can see it clearly here. You can see it clearly here. It says that the finance minister, Godongwana, has defended his decision to increase the value-added tax by 0.5 percentage point, saying that suspending the increase would have severe and far-reaching consequences for the country. The ANC finance minister, Godongwana, has defended his decision to increase the value-added tax by 0.5 percentage point, saying that suspending the increase would have severe and far-reaching consequences for the country. This is what the ANC says. So Maimane is talking about speaking with the ANC and finding ways on how these matters can actually be dealt with. But the ANC is being blatant with him. Like they are now literally being blatant with him and telling him what's up. In a responding affidavit filed in a Western Cape division of the High Court, Godongwana argued that the DA and the EFF's application to prevent the VAT increase from coming into effect on the 1st of May are without merit. In his affidavit, Godongwana further warned that if the VAT increase is halted, the state would lose 13.5 billion rand in revenue, which would lead to either spending cuts or increased borrowing. Quote, this is what Godongwana says. The consequence would be severe and far-reaching. The government would immediately be forced to either cut spending or increase borrowing. And this is what the DA wanted these people to do at the first place. Cut spending. Cut unnecessary spending. This is what the DA wanted. And Fikile Mbalula said, no, we don't believe in cutting. We don't believe in cutting. So Godongwana says that the consequences would be severe and far-reaching. The government would be immediately forced to either cut spending or increase borrowing. Both options carry risk. Spending cuts would likely fall on essential education, healthcare, housing, and social protection programs. These disproportionately affect the poor and vulnerable, Godongwana said in a court paper. Listen here. The DA has challenged the constitutionality of the Section 7 of the VAT Act, which allows Godongwana to adjust the VAT rate. Godongwana argued that the DA's challenge is misdirected and based on a fundamental misinterpretation of the law. The DA has challenged the constitutionality of the Section 7.4 of the VAT Act, which allows Godongwana to adjust the VAT rate. Godongwana argued that the DA's challenge is misdirected and based on a fundamental misinterpretation of the law. So Godongwana further says, the provision does not confer on the Minister of Finance the power to amend Section 7.1. Instead, it grants me temporary and conditional authority to adjust the rate for 12 months, subject to Parliament's power to enact legislation. Godongwana also criticized the EFF's application, saying it is unsupported and unclear. He says that it is unclear whether the EFF seeks merely to interdict the report or whether the EFF seeks to interdict the introduction of the 0.5 percentage point value-added tax increase. So, Godongwana stressed that Parliament would leave the opportunity to debate and vote on a VAT increase, and he believes that a majority would actually support it as a responsible fiscal step. So Godongwana further says, while I accept the tax increases are politically difficult, I believe that when the proposed amendment to the Section 7.1 is debated, a majority in Parliament will support it as a responsible and necessary fiscal step. The court will hear the DA and EFF's application on Tuesday. The court will hear the DA and EFF's application on Tuesday. Godongwana urged the court to dismiss the applications, saying that the balance of convenience overwhelmingly favors refusing the interim interdict. Godongwana says that the DA is not without remedy. It may pursue the relief sought in Part B of its notice of motion, and if successful, to ask the court for any just and equitable relief in its deems appropriate. There is no need to grant interim relief now. This is what Godongwana says. The outcome of the court case will determine whether the VAT increase will go ahead as planned or be suspended pending further legal proceedings. Both the DA and EFF challenging the adoption of the 2025 fiscal framework and revenue proposals, which include the VAT hikes. The parties claim that the decision taken by the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces were fundamentally flawed and unlawful. So Godongwana is there defending his VAT hike. But for some reason, Maimane wants you to believe that he's having fruitful conversations with the ANC, and the ANC might actually go back and cut these VAT hikes. I mean, this should actually tell you everything that you need to know about Musi Maimane. Tells you everything that you need to know about the man. Conniving. Gaten McKenzie. Spineless. I don't even want to speak about Gaten McKenzie because Gaten McKenzie, man, he went from someone who was actually quite popular to now being a lap dog of the ANC. I mean, like, this is the same person who said that Ramaphosa can kick him out of the GNU after Ramaphosa has actually signed the Bella Bill into law without actually informing them. He was crying and saying that Ramaphosa can kick him out of the GNU, but it seems like he enjoys being the poster boy of the GNU. That's why he will do anything that the ANC wants. This is Gaten McKenzie, man. He has been a disappointment, a huge disappointment. He has been a huge disappointment. And for some reason, he has managed to clear himself or to absolve himself from the criticism that other political parties are actually facing. He has been able to do that. But South Africans must not forget. This is one thing that South Africans must not forget, especially now that things are so expensive. Things are so expensive. The cost of living is ridiculously high. And you have these fat cats of the politicians telling you that no, we need to make things even more expensive. This is our only way of surviving. They say that no, we cannot cut the spending. No, the cutting the spending, it has its risk, and this is not what we must do. And this is a shame, man. This is a shame. Anyway, guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button at the most important part. Subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.